When I ask you who are the greatest scorers of the 1990s, what names come to mind? Jordan, Robinson, Barkley, Malone, Miller? All good answers, but one of the most overlooked scorers of that decade is almost never mentioned in the discussion, even though he should be. Mitch "The Rock" Richmond. Mitch was a 6'5" shooting guard who was drafted in 1988 with the 5th overall pick by the Golden State Warriors. His impact was felt immediately as Richmond had one of the greatest rookie campaigns of that decade. In his debut season, Mitch averaged 22 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 4.2 assists on 47% shooting. For years to come after that, Richmond was the model of consistency for a scoring two-guard as he averaged over 20 points per game in each of his first 10 seasons in the league. He was a fantastic three-point shooter as he shot 39% from distance over the course of his career. To give you an idea of just how good of a perimeter shooter he was, let me put it this way. Larry Bird and Dirk Nowitzki are considered as two of the greatest shooters in NBA history. Mitch Richmond was not only more efficient than these two at three-pointers, but he also averaged more three-point attempts per game than these two legends. He's easily one of the most underrated snipers of NBA history. Stretching the floor was far from his only skill though. He was also a strong guard who wasn't afraid to post up and take advantage of the weaker players on the block. That is, after all, how he earned his nickname, The Rock. During Mitch's first 3 seasons in the NBA, he was a member of the Warriors well before Golden State had established themselves as a premier franchise. These seasons would be the closest Richmond would get to leading a contending team while he was in his prime. That Warriors team was led by Tim Hardaway, Mitch Richmond, and Chris Mullin under head coach Don Nelson. They were an exciting and fast-paced offense, frequently referred to as Run TMC. Their best playoff run came in the 1991 season, but unfortunately they were eliminated in the second round of the playoffs by the eventual Western Conference champions, the Los Angeles Lakers. The following season, in a move that still confuses me to this day with its absurdity, the Warriors traded Mitch Richmond to the Sacramento Kings in exchange for the draft rights to the big man Billy Owens, who didn't end up being nearly as good of a player as Richmond. Mitch continued his star production as a King, and from 1993 to 1998, he was an All-Star each year, including the 1995 All-Star Game in Phoenix, where he was named the game's MVP. One of the reasons that Richmond is frequently so overlooked despite his talent and accomplishments, in my opinion, is honestly because he was simply cursed with bad franchises. His best years he spent with the Warriors, Kings, and Wizards, which were all far from serious contending organizations in both the 80s and 90s. In fact, out of his 14 years in the league, in only 3 of those seasons did he actually have a winning record. The first 2 were with the Run TMC Warriors, and the third was in his final season as a member of the Shaq and Kobe Lakers. By that point, Mitch was 36 years old and was only averaging 4 points a game, yet despite his small contribution, Mitch was able to finish out his career with an NBA championship. With his consistent scoring throughout his career and his all-time great shooting, Mitch solidified his Hall of Fame status when he was elected in 2014. Despite his amazing talent, you rarely hear people talk about this guy, and in my opinion, he's a worthy candidate for the title of the most underrated player in NBA history. Let me know in the comments section who you think is the most underrated player of all time. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.